guess I just want to start off by saying that I, for one, am relieved that there seems to be some sort of deal that has been made between the United States and Iran. Thank God. Thank God that this war that was never really a war or whatever seems to be coming to an end. Hopefully. Hopefully it doesn't get disrupted. Hopefully it doesn't get messed up. Israel, I'm looking at you. Maybe the bombings can stop. Maybe we give Lebanon a break. Maybe we vote for peace. And some people they don't want that. They don't want to continue this peace route. That thank God again. I'm team deal over here. I'm happy there's a deal. It was the only clear option that we really had. Either way, it's a loss for us, but it was the best option that we had out of all of the different bad ones. Some people, they don't agree. They feel like, you know what, you're doing half measures. We need to continue. Israel certainly doesn't agree. They said that this doesn't apply to us. We never agreed to this. Let the bombs continue, is what Israel is saying. And I think I think we just have to look ourselves in the mirror and just remind ourselves that you can't win them all. That's a saying for a reason. You can't win them all. And it's true for everybody else, just like it's true for America. We're finding out. We're finding out that that's just how it is. And it's okay. People don't necessarily know the details of this deal. Doesn't get released until Friday. I'm recording this on Wednesday. And yeah, some people are questioning whether or not this is going to be that different than the previous deal that we had, the one that Obama worked out, the one that Trump walked away from, the JCPOA. Is it going to be that different? People are speculating. That's all we could do. We can only go off of what Iran is saying. Apparently, it's fake news. It's the best deal there's ever been, and it might be. It might be. I don't want to squabble about the details of the deal. I'm just happy that there is a deal that seems to be made. Again, as long as it's not disrupted. Israel, I'm still looking at you. We got to make sure this goes through. Let's just make sure that nobody else needlessly dies. Is that okay? Is that all right? The United States and Iran appear close to an agreement to end the military conflict that began on February 28th. The war has severely disrupted global energy supplies and raised fuel and food prices by restricting maritime traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. Most people never even heard of the Strait of Hormuz before this. This is why we make a deal. Most people didn't even pay attention to this. They didn't even know that had any effect on their fuel and food prices. I didn't know. Did you know? I never heard of the Strait of Hormuz. But now we all know that that's kind of like a choke point for America. You can't win them all. Sometimes sometimes a deal is the best option. Sometimes you are the degenerate gambling addict that is billions of dollars in the hole in this case. Billions of dollars in the hole. If you look at we're trillions of dollars in the hole. But in this particular situation, you're billions of dollars in the hole. You have some options. Do you double down? Do you try to send in some people? Maybe this could work out. Maybe. Maybe you go further into the hole. Maybe there is even more that happens back at home. Because we already know that the tides are shifting. They're turning a little bit. Things aren't looking in your favor. So you have another option. You go home. You got your tail tucked between your legs, but you can still claim it a victory if you want. Do what you want. People are still going to look at things like the facts or whatever. They're still going to look at this in comparison to the deal that Trump walked away from before. It doesn't matter. This is the best option. You don't want the gambling addict to continue to gamble. And you don't want to provoke them by saying, oh, you're really losing by walking away. It's okay. Let's just get through this. And it doesn't help that Israel's going to keep throwing bombs. They want to keep the gambling going. I think a deal is the best option. We're team deal. This is the official stance that we have here at this show. You know, you can take it or leave it. It's okay. We all have different opinions. We're a team deal over here. Under the framework brokered by Pakistani Prime Minister Sharif, an initial deal would halt the war and allow the immediate reopening of the shipping lane. And some people, they're going to try and point at the fact that the shipping lane, the Strait of Hormuz, it was open before this war. You can't really call this a win, but these are the talking points that the president and everybody else on his cabinet, they'll be able to use this. And I'm not blaming them. You don't have much to use. So for the average person that hasn't really been paying attention, maybe they never heard of the Strait of Hormuz before this, and they haven't even been following what's been going on. They didn't realize that it was open before. Maybe these are terrorists. Terrorists. You know that word. That word that's supposed to make you shake. That word that's supposed to make you comply and say, okay, what you're doing makes sense. Say no more. Say less. This is enough. Terrorists. You had me there. You had me at hello. This is what we feel back home in America. So thank you. When you say that terrorists are going to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, I'm going to assume that the whole reason it was closed is because of these said terrorists, not because of the war of choice that was launched by America/Israel or whatever. Both. I'm looking at both of us. Okay, this was a catastrophic choice, and it's all right. Like I said, we can't win them all. If that's how you were looking at your own country, you didn't have the hubris to realize that there is a certain limit to your own abilities. And that's okay. That's okay. Nothing is invincible. Nothing's supposed to last forever. So you can't win them all. This was a bad deal. Some people are going to point at this, but use it as a talking point. President Trump noted that a deal has been made which would lift the U.S. naval blockade on Iranian ports, while Iran's foreign ministry indicated a formal signing is expected in the coming days. The agreement establishes a strict 60-day window following the initial signing to negotiate technical details regarding Iran's nuclear program. Hopefully they do adhere to the no nukes thing. That is what Iran is saying. They say, hey, just to reiterate, they said something along those lines. Like, hey, we're just reiterating that we won't do any nukes over here. And they say reiterate because that was in the original deal that was made by Obama. And Obama did a whole bunch of his own shit while he was in office. Don't get me wrong. But one of the good things, I would say, is the JCPOA. It took years. And yeah, They did enrich their uranium or whatever. I'm not a scientist, but they got it to like 60% or something. And apparently there's no country that has gotten it to that point without actually developing nukes. So this deal is a big deal for them to say, hey, we won't do the nukes. Maybe some people, again, it's just speculation at this point. That's all the common person can really do. That's all we can really do. Is you gotta speculate with the facts at hand. But the common person speculates that they were enriching up into that point because, hey, when you walk away from the deal, they had us at around 3%. There was nothing stopping us from expanding that. And they got into the 60s. So we could, is what some people think, is what they're trying to say. We could do this. We could get nukes. And I know the argument. Do you want these terrorists to have nukes? No, I don't really think that any of us need nukes per se. I mean, do we really need nukes? It's like a Western standoff at this point. You got all of the nuclear powered countries, I guess, with the capability to end the war, and it's like, again, like a standoff. Everybody's just holding their weapon. Don't make me push the button, because I could and I would. And if you don't have nukes, again, I like to hear the arguments on all sides. I just want to know what's going on. Like I said, the common person, all we could do is speculate. All we could do is gather the facts if you're interested. Most people aren't. Most people aren't interested because, I mean, the economy's stupid. That's always the answer. That's always the answer to this. Most people are, there's too much shit going around. And it's too easy to blame the closest thing to you. Whether it's somebody with a different race, somebody in a different financial class, whatever, your boss, because they're an asshole, whatever. People are just looking close. And some people look beyond. Like, hey, why do I feel like I can't get ahead? Why do I feel like this dollar, every dollar that I earn, is just constantly losing its value? What's going on? Do we need to spend billions on wars on the other side of the country or the world? It doesn't feel like an America problem. And I don't feel like that's not an anti-Israel thing. It's not an anti-Semite type of thing. It's a pro where we live type of thing. I think I think it's natural for everybody to feel that way for the country that they're in. If I was born and raised in Israel, I would probably feel the same way as them. Let's keep the bombs going. Let's keep it up. What do you mean pull out? Keep the money flowing over here. We we got work to do cuz they're close. They could. They're talking about they could. And I don't know. Maybe it's just me as a privileged American. I think the best bet is to just make a deal. Let's just make a deal. And yeah, so you have a 60-day where apparently it's going to be toll free. Some people are saying that there's going to be a toll after. Trump is saying that that's bullshit. So we'll see. We don't know what the deal is. I don't really care. I don't really care about the details with this one. I'm relieved that we're gonna finally stop this. And the deal is also expected to outline a phase lifting of economic sanctions and the release of frozen Iranian assets. And you got Trump and Vance. They're saying that this isn't going to be on the taxpayer. I hope not. I hope it's not going to come from us. But to be honest, if this turned into another Iraq Afghanistan situation, the 300 billion or whatever they were talking about, that would be nothing if you think about everything that would be spent in a quagmire like that. I think the best thing that we could have done is just say, "Hey, buddy, you're in the hole. I know you're a degenerate gambler, but you need to stop." And Trump seems to finally be listening. Maybe he wasn't being blackmailed. Maybe he really just thought this was going to be a Venezuela type of situation. Maybe he didn't have the ability to check his ego when it finally dawned on him that this isn't going to be a winning situation. Maybe the midterms was his final. He knew it was coming up. He knew that the closer to the midterms that he was eventually going to have to pull the plug. He knew Israel would be upset. He was going to have to start publicly saying things like, "You're fucking crazy," because people, they already think that his asshole is a little bit hurt and unclenched from the Israeli fist that has been shoved up there and commanding his every movement like the puppet that he is. That's what a lot of people think. I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying. Who am I? Like I said, the common person, that's all I am. The common person, we can only speculate. We can only try to come to a reasonable conclusion. So I don't know. So maybe this was him saying, "Hey, no, I have clenched my asshole. Turns out I'm a real boy. I'm not a puppet. Okay? And we're done. We're done funding this. You remember what I ran on? No new wars. We're gonna get back to that. It's kinda no continuation of this war. And that's me. That's my team. Team deal. Team deal. And yeah, I know the initial instinct of a lot of people is going to be pointing at the other side, saying it's all their fault, or saying, "Hey, isn't Isn't this a big showcase of how stupid they are, or whatever it is? And you got the war hawks over here that turning on Trump as quickly as they all of a sudden were pro Trump. And now they're saying again, this was a big disaster. And I guess I understand to an extent. If you wanted this war, if you were one of the people that wanted this war for some reason, it makes sense that you'd want to get her done. You'd want to finish that shit. There ain't no point in doing it halfway. We might as well finish. Because like a lot of people are pointing out and are going to continue to point out, especially again midterms coming up, this is going to be something that is talked about a lot. The deal is essentially probably going to be the same, maybe even more uh more good things for the Iranians, because I mean, hey, they did kind of show a sign of strength. And when you negotiate from strength instead of weakness, you get kind of a better deal. That's just historically looking at things. Again, I'm just speculating. They didn't let the details out. Iran decided to say, "Hey, these are what the details are of the deal." And America, for some reason, is saying no. The U.S. says no. We're not going to tell you the details because Pakistan said they told us not to. They don't care what Iran says. They, for some reason, care about what we tell you peons. You know, the motherfuckers that live here, that vote, that think their vote actually changes anything. You people. Yeah, they didn't want us to tell you until I guess it's too late. They didn't want to hear any bullshit. They want this deal to go through. So if they see anything, and by they I mean we, the peons that live in America, it is the common person that might say, "Hey, wait a minute. You might not be spending our tax money to pay this 300 billion or whatever, but you did pay that with the taxpayers to launch this war in the first place. Not to mention all of the shit you're sending to Israel for the other war that they're in." And I say war like they're going against, an actual army. And I'm not pro Hamas. I don't think anybody should be pro Hamas except for, I guess, people in Hamas. They are doing acts of terror too. You see two bad guys, you don't say, "Hey, this one is worse, so I'm team this other bad guy." No, y'all both suck. So we're paying for this shit anyways. So I think team deal over here. The more of these we can exit out of quietly, loudly, I don't care. The more of these we can leave, the better. And it probably will be replaced with something else. It will be. Let's think about it. This is how this is how the this is how the people in the military industrial complex continue to get paid. If you make bombs, you make money by selling bombs. And you sell bombs when there's wars. It makes sense. It makes sense. I guess, you can't be too mad at it. It's what we've all been born into. Nobody alive today has been born into a world where people weren't just stockpiling bombs. It is what it is. I guess this is what we do. At the end of the day, that is what the world comes to. Is you are in whatever group you're in based on where you're born, and everybody's just pointing weapons at each other. Let you not have a nuke. That's when you do stuff to the little countries. Little baby Venezuela. We will kidnap your president. That's what you do to them. You don't have nukes. Somebody trying to get up to the point of having nukes. Whoa, whoa, we gotta start bombing you. We gotta start bombing you. Now let's make a deal. I don't know what else to say other than I'm relieved. I'm happy that there seems to be a deal. I just hope that it's not all messed up. And again, people are going to criticize it. I hope the amount of people criticizing this deal isn't going to make Trump want to go back to this war. Like I said, it seems like, just the observer over here, it seems like Trump has a hard time with his ego. You know, when you are very wealthy, when you are born into wealth like that, I assume that there's not too many things that would check your ego. And I guess that's why a lot of trust fund babies, they end up burning out. And obviously that didn't happen to Trump. Not knocking this man. He say what you will. He made money, and some people will criticize how he made money and what did you know? The only reason I don't fucking care. I don't care. People care too much. That's what's wrong with people. Like I said, everybody just wants to point to the closest thing they could see. Because like the cliche statement is cliche for a reason. It's the economy, stupid. That's why everybody is so heated. People are going to look at this and they're going to judge. I just hope that his ego, it doesn't make him say, you know what? I'll show you how to finish a war. I'll show you that I wouldn't have gotten a quagmire. I'll show you how to outmaneuver the opposition, because this wouldn't be the first time Trump says, hey, let's make a deal. And then boom, bombs. Gotcha. So if I were Iran, I would be skeptical, as they are, as they claim to be. It makes sense. So maybe this is him just trying to bluff. It's only been electronically signed. As of recording this today, it hasn't actually gone through in a physical signing, which doesn't make too much sense to me. I guess it's different, but like legally you can e-sign shit. I don't know how different whatever. Again, I'm not trying to judge this too much because I just want it to go through. Let's just let it go through. And Obama, the president that had the original deal with Iran, he does have some things to say about this whole thing with Iran. So former President Obama, everybody.
You spent a lot of time wrestling with the threat of a nuclear Iran. How do you think things are being handled right now there?
Bad.
It is doubtful that any agreement that arises is going to be significantly different or a significant improvement from the deal that we had in the first place, and had worked for a long stretch of time.
He definitely seemed upset about that. You could see that was a man haunted about the years lost by Trump just walking away from that deal. He just thinks about the amount of times that he told Michelle that, hey, we knew this is how it would go. I got to get some things done. Iran, they can't have nukes. I got to get this deal through. Now he realizes all this time is going to be, it's going to be wasted, flush, down the toilet. It means nothing now. Look at this. And it's kind of somebody that's saying like, hey, what can I say? You walked away from my deal. And like I said, Obama, he did his own shit. You know, he went back on his own campaign promises. They all do it. It's not a left or a right thing. It's not a Democrat, Republic. They all fucking suck. It's the same thing like I was talking about with Israel and Hamas. Like they all suck. And this isn't me being anti anything. Just like I'm not anti myself or any other American by saying that our politicians, our government sucks. The average citizen isn't the person behind any of these things. The average Iranian isn't thinking about nukes. They're thinking about how they're going to feed their family. And that's what the common person is thinking. And maybe that's the luxury that we have of being the common person. We get to be the ones on the side. You don't have to think about the people with the nukes. I don't know. It's one of those things that you try to make your best guess on what should be done. But you know in the back of your mind, at least I know, that there are so many things that I'm not even aware of. There are so many other factors at play. And it's not as simple as the common person on the side makes it out to be. But sometimes it's It is. It is as simple as just walking away. That's why I'm pro deal. Israel is, they are not, they're not pro deal. They're claiming that they're not bound by this deal. While the United States and Iran move forward with their newly brokered ceasefire framework, the Israeli government has explicitly rejected the agreement's regional provisions. And they're upset. They're feeling like they have been let down because I'm guessing Trump promised them, they were promised something that they feel like they didn't receive. And they had a whole list of different countries that they wanted to take over. And from what I've heard, apparently this is the seventh out of the list of seven different countries. I'm not sure. Like I said, common person here on the side, trying to make sense of this, trying to figure out why gas is going up. They feel let down. They feel like this wasn't taken to the extent that they were promised. And maybe, again, maybe if all of the people that are anti us continuing to send more money to Israel, more aid to Israel, and to continue this, what seems to be war of choice. And I'm sorry, it's not a war, because if it was considered a war, we would have had to go before Congress before this, all started. But this whole exchange, this little tiff, okay, this little argument between countries. Some people are saying that this should just be over, but maybe that's just our perspective. If we were there, maybe we would want this to continue. I don't know. You get mixed numbers. Some people say that, hey, the people in Israel, a lot of them are against this. Again, the common person, they just want to, how am I going to feed my kid? And then the argument is, no, there's actually a lot of them that are scared. There is constant bombs. They are surrounded by countries that hate them. We have to protect them. We have to send billions more to a country the size of New Jersey. We have to. And don't ask why. Because it feels a little bit Hitlerian. You seem a little bit anti-Semitic. So don't ask questions. I guess I could see why that's the narrative you would want to push if you were a citizen, or maybe not even a citizen, a member of the government in Israel. I could see how that could maybe be in their best interest. It's just, again, it's really hard to worry about that as the common person in a completely different country. That's what me and a lot of other people are saying. That's why I'm pro deal. I'm not anti-Israel, but I'm pro deal. And a lot of people are saying this. And even though they explicitly say this, the attack immediately seems to be, you must be anti-Israel. You must be anti-Semitic. You must be some sort of devout worshiper and follower of Adolf Hitler. You Nazi is essentially their argument. And I don't know. Like I said, I try to see all sides. I'm trying to take in the facts of the situation. Multiple high-ranking Israeli ministers announced that Israel is not bound by the diplomatic understandings reached between Washington and Tehran, nor will it comply with any international withdrawal timelines. And this is where I'm personally a little bit nervous. I'm relieved that there seems to be a deal, but I'm nervous that the deal could be completely blown up if they continue to blow up more places in Lebanon. Iran said this is it. And while they wanted the people of Palestine to stop getting bombed as well, they realized that there was an extent to their negotiating power. But they said, hey, we do have to draw the red line here. Israel has to stop bombing Lebanon. And maybe they do, maybe they don't. I think, just my 2 cents. Again, I know there's other factors. I know. I think a candid conversation is needed where it's like, hey, I want a deal, Israel. This is what Trump maybe should say. I want a deal with Iran. I do. I don't want any more people to die. It's just, I don't like it. I don't seem to like it like you. So Benjamin, can I call you Benji? Benny, I want to make a deal. Let's make a deal. And if you don't want to stop bombing them, I'm letting you know now, just because we have been allies historically. If you don't want to stop bombing Lebanon, I'm going to have to tell Iran, can we please take this off the table as long as America stops funding any more bombing that happens from Israel. I'm going to have to cut you off. And it's going to be a moment. It's going to be a moment because it does feel like Israel is the spoiled trust fund kid that is used to getting their way. And when you tell the trust fund baby that you're getting cut off, when you tell them this, it's going to stir up some problems. What problems? I'm not sure. Maybe we should see the other side of that to see if it's actually worth it. I feel like it will. I feel like not too much will happen if we say, hey, you know how you're able to do everything that you're able to do, and it's because of the money that we're sending and how we're able to basically prop you up as a country. We're gonna cut that off. Now, if they're cut off, I don't know how much of a threat you could really be. I mean, I know they have nukes. They say they don't have nukes. We know they have nukes. They clearly have nukes. But it's that same standoff situation. Nobody's using the nukes. Again, thank God. Relieved on that note as well. But if anything were to fuck this deal up, I think it would be this. And I think the only way out of it is if Trump says, you are cut off, you spoiled trust fund bitch. You're cut off. I can't keep doing this. Israel is the little bitch ass friend that has a loud ass mouth that every time you take out, they're trying to get in fights and you have to help them out, and they're constantly needing money and they're spying on you and shit like that. At a certain point, you have to cut them off. Again, this isn't me anti-Israel or Israeli people or anything like that. It's just anti-enabling. I think it's just me as a person, by the way. That's just me in general, by the way. I think enabling somebody clearly does not lead to a positive outcome. That's how I feel with my kids. My kids will not be enabled. You know, they want to, they try, and that's natural. If it can be exploited, it will. They'll try. And you know, with the kid, it's very simple. They'll try to whine. They'll try to give you a face, a little cute face. They'll try a different, you'll notice. For parents out there, and if you're not a parent, you'll notice one day if you decide to become one. They go through phases of what they try on you. Because just like everybody else, they're testing out what works. Will the puppy dog face work? Will I get my ice cream now? Do I still have to take a bath if I throw a fit? So you're gonna have to endure whatever tantrum, whatever fit that Israel is gonna throw. It's okay. Tell them we still love you. We're still here for you. We just can't support you anymore. You're gonna have to support yourself, and it's not because we despise you or anything like that. It's just we have people starving back home. We have problems back home. Okay, so I promise it's not personal. It's not personal at all. And the stance was amplified by National Security Minister Ben Gvir, I don't fucking know, who publicly dismissed the U.S.-led initiative. Ben Gvir declared that the agreement does not oblige Israel in any way, stating that Israel is an independent, sovereign nation and not subordinate to the United States. Listen here. This is why I said you gotta put them up against the wall. They're the snot-nosed little fucking kid that has been used to getting everything they've ever wanted. They don't know what allowance means, because allowance kind of alludes to the fact that you do some sort of work, you do some sort of chore, or that there's some sort of like cadence to it, like it's once a week or once a month. They're so fucking used to getting money whenever they ask for it. They're so used to getting whatever they want. You got to go up to this little snot-nosed, spoiled-ass brat of a kid that you have United States, and you got to say, look, you don't call the shots. And I'm sorry, you do oblige to what America says as long as you are using America's money. If you want to go, and this is something you say to a kid, again, the same thing with, like I said, with enabling my kids. This is how I feel. Let my kid, as I feed them, clothe them, do everything for them, like literally everything you have, and this is how it's supposed to be. Obviously, you know, that's this, like parents don't list this shit because, you know, decent parent, most parents, I'm hoping, don't just list this shit because it's like I feel owed. It's the same way where America doesn't have to feel like, oh, you know, like I feel owed to any of this, but it's like the funding can stop. By all means, you can go out on your own. And it's a little bit different. This analogy is getting away from me because you wouldn't tell your kids to just go. At least I would. But you would remind them that, hey, who pays the bills? That food that you eat, how'd you get that? Until you want to start providing for yourself, I'm sorry, but you do have to live by my rules. And maybe that type of conversation needs to be had between Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. Not Yahoo. I don't know. Again, these are names I shouldn't even know, to be honest. I shouldn't know about Mr. Sir Benjamin. I shouldn't know about him. I just shouldn't. I shouldn't know about this. You're too far away, sir. You're too far away. I think if we focused on ourselves for just a little bit, there could be some benefits to be had, to be done. The collective pushback from Jerusalem highlights a significant vulnerability in the broader peace framework. Though Hezbollah has indicated a willingness to halt attacks if Israel stops its military operations, Israel's refusal to exit southern Lebanon leaves the permanence of the region's truce highly uncertain. It's highly uncertain, to say the least. It's unlikely to happen. This wouldn't be the last time. Like I said, I hate to keep using the analogy, but it's like the rebellious teenager. How many times has it been where Trump will specifically say, hey, don't do this, and they do that? Hey, we got to draw a line here. Make sure you don't do this. Oh, okay, that's fine. Let's wait till J.D. Vance comes over here to Israel, and that's what we'll do. Because it's always going to be a big fuck you. Fuck you, Dad. I don't care if you pay my bills. By the way, can I get some money? By the way, can I get some help? By the way, I got in another altercation. By the way, do you want us to be exterminated? Don't we have a right to live? Don't we have a right to exist? The fuck are you talking about? You sound like a little fucking emo little teenage girl. What are you talking about? You have a right to exist? Who told you you didn't? Who told you you didn't? You don't have a right to another country's money. Sorry. You don't have a right to that. You have a right to exist. I believe everybody does, by the way, including the innocent people that have been blown up by you, by choice. By us, by choice. That's why it's like, this isn't me pointing fingers, by the way. They all do it, just like the politicians. They all fucking do it. And they make money in the process. Exactly how, I'm not sure. The more things that happen like this in my life where it's just like, it just makes me like, I have a feeling that the more times something like this happens, the more I'm just going to be like curious. How do they make their money? How do they do this? I get it to the extent where, you know what I mean, you sell weapons, then you make money every single time that a war happens. And it's hard to see this not ending. And the average person, the common person, like I said, we're just stuck back at home trying to figure out who the bad guy is, because life doesn't feel like it was supposed to be this way. And you got a lot of entitled people saying that, you know, it's not fair and shit should be free. That's not what I'm saying. But you got a lot of people saying that, hey, life seems to be getting a little bit worse compared to how it was before. The older you get, the more you are able to compare the years that you're living in now to the years you had before. And you try to be careful. You try not to, because it's always like the rose tinted glass or whatever they say, where you look back. It's easy to just look at the nice moments. Think about if you go through a breakup and first is fuck you, I hate you, or I'm sorry, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? However you break up on your terms, might just be like a peaceful breakup, but we just don't work. Eventually, when you go to think about them, you won't think about all the reasons why you didn't work. You won't think about all the fuck yous and the arguments. You're going to think about the good things. So you got to be careful. Looking back, like maybe, maybe I just feel like life used to be better. But again, the more times that you get this feeling, the more you're inclined to look into it. And you start to say, wait a minute, things are different. Prices have gone up. And maybe you don't get to that stage. Maybe you're just at the point where you're just constantly pointing fingers at other people. Maybe at this point, the first thing that we are just like naturally inclined to do is to tribalize. Maybe that's why this whole left and right divide that seems to be getting worse. Maybe again, is this what growing up is? Did I just not notice this shit before? And I remember being a kid, like Obama running and shit like that. I remember people saying like, oh, he wasn't even born here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I kind of remember, but I swear to God, like, it's just been getting worse within the past, like, since COVID, maybe a little bit before. I don't know. It's just been getting progressively worse. The tribalism that people seem to have. And whether it's about race, whether it's about you looking at somebody that makes a little bit more money than you, or you shouldn't have this, or you shouldn't have that, or whatever. It seems like everybody's trying to pick a team. And the White House decided to hold a UFC fight on its front lawn. And by the White House, obviously I mean Mr. Donald J. Trump decided that this would be a good idea. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I like UFC. I don't watch it personally, but I used to. I don't watch any sports. If I were to watch one, it would probably be this one. I don't see anything wrong with this. Like I said, we're so divided that anything like this that could bring people together is probably a good thing. You got people celebrating. It's about to be 250 years, this country. Some people, they scoff at it. We're just colonizers or whatever. I don't know about you. I ain't colonized shit. Some people saying, oh, it's like we're just slaves. It's like, I don't know about you. I ain't a slave of shit. So it's like I think a lot of people they look back and turn their nose down at the history of our country. But however you feel about it, it's about to be 250 years. I think it's a good thing that in celebration we have people coming together. Whether you're on the left or the right, however you feel, you have a mutual love for mixed martial arts and you're able to come to this event. I think it's a good thing. And there was a fighter that had some words about Michelle Obama at the end of his fight. So let's hear what he said.
And lastly, Michelle Obama.
You guys want to play it again, or
is
you
a
think they
man.
have it?
Am I right, America?
I don't know. This was Josh Hokit, I think is how you say his last name, saying that Michelle Obama is a man. Am I right, America? And I don't know, sir. I can honestly tell you, I don't know. Again, the common person here, they're just left with the facts. I would say yes, that she is a she is a woman. I'm sorry, that was misleading because you said Michelle Obama's a man. Am I right, America? And I said yes. I meant yes, that she is a she, not yes, that she is a man. I don't know though. I have to be honest. Again, just outside looking in. I haven't spent too much time thinking about the original genitalia of Michelle Obama. It just hasn't been something that's crossed my mind. It's not a topical conversation for me. It's not something that I have ever discussed, thought about. It hasn't been at the top of my mind. Maybe you're right. It's weird. to say the least. That this was, I think he won. Again, I don't keep up with the sport, but I think he won his fight. And Rogan goes to do the post-fight interview, and this is what he says. And people are upset. Of course, people are upset. That's the theme of the episode today. People are going to be upset. People are going to pick a side. Apparently, people laughed. It wasn't. I'm gonna be honest. It wasn't my flavor of funny. Am I offended by it? No, I'm not. Would I say like this is a good thing? I mean, no. It's not. It's gonna further the divide. Because of course this would happen on the White House. Of course, because this is the type of thing you have and blah blah blah. It's like you're just feeding more into the narrative. And then the more that people end up fighting back, and then it's just like it's like one of those what is that those old families? It's like the Hatfields or the McCoys or some. I feel like there's some memory there where there's like these two families that are neighbors or whatever, and they've just been at war so long. I never read the book, if it was a book or a movie. I never had actually any interaction with that story other than knowing the gist of what it was about. You got two neighbors that are constantly fighting for generations. How did it start? I think it might be one of those things. It might be one of those things with everything. Everybody's just going to be mad at everybody, and nobody's really going to know how it started. And people, they want to know what side you're on. They want you to be upset. They want you to get upset about it. And if you're not upset about it, they want you to defend it. They want you to be on the same side of something that is getting other people upset, because then it's more fuel for the fire. It's all I would say it's a distraction, but a distraction makes it seem like there's somebody that is deliberately there trying to distract us with it. And there is. But in this case in particular, in most cases actually, it's not one of those where somebody's constantly trying to distract you. It's one of those flywheel effect type of things where the more people stir stuff like this up, it's a snowball effect. And people are kind of just doing it on their own. They're able to stir this up on their own. They're already thinking about these type of things. They're stirred up. You got people at TMZ. They already know what their job is. Let's stir some people up. And they found the comedian Shane Gillis after the fight, and they just wanted to see, hey, are you going to stir some people up? Because we need you to pick a team. We need you to either be upset by this or to support this so that more people can be upset. So let's hear what Shane says.
What do you think of him saying Michelle Obama's a man?
I didn't love that.
Didn't love it? How come?
Why did you think?
Why? Come on.
A lot of people have said the opposite. That's why
I don't like that.
A lot of people are saying the opposite, that they loved it. Who's a lot of people? He's leaving the fight. Who's a lot of people? And maybe that is the guy interviewing. He's just kind of doing like a man in the street type of thing, and he's interviewing everybody. And a lot of people are sitting there saying like, yeah, I liked it. I doubt it. I think that's why he followed it up. It's like, why do you think I didn't like it? She's like, I know what you're trying to do. And obviously Shane Gillis is famous as fuck, so he's used to this. He's used to people trying to get some sort of clip of him where he does something. He does something to offend somebody. Because that's the currency now, is attention. And the only attention people want to seem to give is either upsetting somebody or being upset by something. It just seems to be how it is playing out. And that's why he had to follow it up. A lot of people are saying it. They're saying the opposite. So that's why, asking why I think, this, come on. He knows what he was doing. He knows exactly what he was doing. And it's not just left and the right. That's probably going to be a more left and right thing, especially when saying Michelle Obama is a man, which would make Michelle Obama a trans. So that's kind of already become a left and right thing, where if you're pro-trans, you're on the left. If you're not pro-trans, you're on the right. It's like, what are you going to do when you're somewhere in the middle, where you don't give a fuck if somebody wants to do whatever and become trans whatever, be they, them, she, he, ha, I don't give a fuck, man. But you don't want kids to be involved with any of that, and you don't think that should be something that, should be endorsed, or surgeries, or any of that. Well, you're not fully on the left, you're not fully on the right. You got to pick a team. They just want you to pick a team. So that, of course, was going to be politicized. Everything is going to be either politicized or turn into some sort of race war, even if it is a set in stone type of case. And there was a stabbing, I guess, last year. Never heard of it, if I'm gonna be honest, by a teenager named Karmelo Anthony. Went up and stabbed another teenager at a track meet. And this, of course, became a racial issue because it was a black and white kid. And if you haven't heard the story, let me just paint the picture for you. You got Karmelo Anthony. He's at a track meet. His parents aren't there. They're busy doing something. He's got to get his mind right. He wants to go under a different tent. He goes under the tent and he sees a group of people. How many of them he knows, how invited he is, who knows? But he goes up, and you got a guy that says, "Hey, you need to get out of here." This is the other kid, Austin. Says, "Hey, you got to get out of our tent. It's their tent." So apparently, allegedly, Karmelo gets, kind of, teenage boys are. I mean, I was a teenage boy at some point. So 17 years old, testosterone is flying high. We all know how that shit is. Maybe they're about to throw hands. Who knows? Somebody tells you got to go. It might just be off principle. Fuck you talking about? Let's be real. I know it's really easy to be like, no, let's be real. Buddy tries him up. You got to leave for whatever reason. We'll never know. We'll never really know unless you were there. Buddy comes up and says he isn't leaving, I guess. Austin, white boy, pushes Karmelo. And Karmelo gets pushed because he was in this tent. Because what? He's black? Is this a race thing? He has to leave because he's black? People are protesting. People are upset because, yeah, they want justice for Karmelo. I didn't tell you the whole story, but they're demanding justice for Karmelo. So to finish the story, Buddy pushes Karmelo first, clearly starting the fight. Even though, yeah, he was asked to leave and he came up in his face and all that, he didn't put his hands on him. And he did, apparently Austin did say, "I don't want to fight you. Just get out the tent." It was probably, again, more aggressive, more intimidating. "Hey, I ain't trying to fight you, bro, but you got it. Whatever the fuck. I don't know." But assuming it was enough where Karmelo was like, "Nah, I'm not getting out." And he steps up. After Austin pushes him, again, justice for Karmelo. Karmelo decides to take a knife out and stab Austin in the heart. And he dies. Justice for Karmelo. He gets taken away, locked up. And the whole reason why this is coming out a year later and becoming an issue a year later is because he's finally been sentenced. And he was sentenced to 35 years. On June 9th, 2026, a Collin County jury found 19-year-old Karmelo Anthony guilty of murder and the fatal stabbing of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. And I'm pretty sure they were both like 17 at the time. So they can make it seem, I guess, like it's a 19-year-old who stabbed a 17-year-old. They were both like in high school or whatever. You got two teenagers. Now again, maybe I am truly getting old. And you've heard about shit like this, but it was like one of those where it's like there was no honor in that. If somebody pushes you, a fight starts, you step up. You don't stab the person right in the heart. You don't stab the person. You don't do that. You throw hands. You throw hands. Hopefully nothing happens too much. Nobody gets in trouble. You feel me? That's what it's like. Maybe I'm getting old. Maybe back in my day, maybe it's one of those type of things. I don't know. because it feels like this shouldn't have even been escalated like that. Sentencing him to 35 years in state prison. The decision brought a conclusion to a highly publicized trial north of Dallas that became a significant racial flashpoint. The amount of videos I've seen, I kind of went down like a little rabbit hole the other day. That's why I was like, bro, I want to talk about this shit. I wanted to talk about this because I saw people pissing on that dead 17-year-old boy's grave. Multiple videos. I saw people talking about they're gonna go after white people if they see them. I saw videos of people going up and actually assaulting somebody because they thought they were on the jury of this same trial. And then when he found out that he wasn't, he was like, "Oh, my bad, bro." You take all of the power out of systemic racism. You take all the power out of all that shit. When shit like this happens, justice for Karmelo. Because hearing that, seeing the protests, you might be like, okay, justice for Karmelo. You see the signs. It's like, what happened? Well, there was a stabbing, and there was a black kid named Karmelo and a white kid named Austin, and they're saying justice for Karmelo. Oh my God. So, I mean, obviously this wasn't necessarily racist. You know, maybe he stabbed him because he didn't like him. But obviously we all know why this would be racist. Austin stabbed Karmelo. And now they're saying justice for Karmelo. Oh, no. Karmelo stabbed Austin. He died. They're saying justice for Karmelo because they think that his sentencing of 35 years was too harsh. That was racist. Sending a murderer to 35 years in prison, which, you know, with good behavior, probably end up doing like 17, 18 type shit. We'll have like the ability to do a whole bunch of shit after they get out. Be like 35. You know what I mean? Like won't be no old ass man. You're gonna be up there. You're gonna be damn near middle age, but you ain't gonna be no old ass man. So I understand how you might feel like your life is over, or like your teenage son's life is over, or this teenage kid's life is over, but is it? Whose life was over? Whose life actually ended? So the incident occurred on April 2nd, 2025 during a high school track meet. I basically went into that shit. Throughout the week-long trial, the defense maintained that Anthony acted in self-defense out of fear and chaos, arguing he felt cornered. Apparently there was some sort of enhanced security footage that they had multiple angles, and they showed that he wasn't going to get jumped. And then there was testimony saying that he warned students, "Touch me and see what happens," before pulling the weapon. The jury ultimately rejected both the self-defense claim and a sudden passion argument, where it's like it was a crime of passion, which could have capped the sentence at 20 years. And I understand that. First of all, he didn't take the plea. He could have taken the plea. So he wasn't saying he didn't do it. It was basically saying, hey, this was self-defense. He never like ran away. He said, hey, I did it. From the jump, he said he did it. But maybe he thought, this is where I can get the whole self-defense thing. Like I said, Austin did put his hands on him first. After bro came into the tent. After Austin said to leave. After he comes up in his face. Honestly, how many people, you got your niggas around you, you an athlete, they're all at a track meet, so as from what I know, they all have their own tent or whatever because they're all athletes in this fucking track meet. You feel me? So it's like you ain't got no fucking, oh, okay, whatever. You feel me? Like, I don't know. Maybe that's just me as a man. Maybe that's just me with them rose-tinted glasses looking back, but it's just like I feel like it wouldn't have just been me. It's just like for like any nigga that I respected when I was in school, like they would have stood up for themselves in that moment. They would have been like, hey bro, like you getting in my face and shit. You know what I mean? I don't know. So maybe that's why his defense fell apart, saying that was self-defense. You can't go up and rage bait somebody, and when they do something, be like, oh, you pushed me? Got you in the heart. Stabbed that nigga in the heart. Stabbed him in the heart. And now people are pissing on his grave. Pissing on his grave. And it's not just like random people that are saying this is racism, by the way. We had politicians and celebrities. I think Cardi B was one of the ones that I saw saying that this is another, like, well, shut the fuck up. I guarantee you, and whatever. No hate to Cardi B. She makes good music. But shut the fuck up. You did not read too much into that. Anybody that saw any bit of details about that case could have been like, hey, that was racist. It was an all-white jury. Apparently it wasn't. Apparently there was like an Asian, whatever. I hate when people are like, what's the race looking like here? Apparently there were going to be black jurors, but they had to be recused or whatever because they said that they wouldn't be able to be objective or whatever. They couldn't see themselves sentencing a black man to prison, a young black man to prison. It's like, okay, so if that's true, again, I'm just a common fucking person here, just sitting on the sidelines, trying to weed out the bullshit from the facts of the situation. But it seems like there could have been some black people in the jury. And apparently the people that were there, both testifying for him and against him, there were some black kids there. So it wasn't like he went into a tent and there was nothing but whiteys. No, you had black people there too. Even in his defense, it wasn't saying like, oh, you know, he didn't do that. No, they knew he did it. It's like we understand what happened. Yeah, you walked us through, and we saw the footage. You clearly weren't going to be jumped. You clearly didn't seem like that. That didn't need to be a thing. I think it's a sad sign of where we are I would say as a country, but it's not just here. I think as like the Western civilization. You look over there at the fucking UK, and some of them be like, it's not as bad as they try to say. It's like, shut the fuck up. Can't have an opinion over there. Not if it goes against the government. I think we're going to shit. You have too many situations like this. Not this exact situation, but situations that there doesn't appear to be any racism. And I ain't no fucking Uncle Ruckus from Boondocks or whatever. It's just like, you feel me? It's like, obviously I'm against racism, but I'm against racism for all races. Imagine that. Because I think it's all bullshit. I think it's all stupid. And I've heard people, because again I went down this rabbit hole saying like, well, I look at myself as black first, so this is like blah blah blah. It's like looking at yourself as black first, or looking at yourself as just another fucking cog in the machine of like all the other fucking black people. That's what are you talking about? Like, I think that's crazy no matter. Like, well, the whites gotta stick together. Like, it sounds crazy when it's them. Huh? It sounds pretty crazy. I'm just saying we gotta be, just separate. They can exist. Just stay over there. Like, even that sounded crazy, right? We wanted to change that too, right? I don't know. I think we're just going too far in the other direction, and it's just something people grasp onto. It could have been anything. For some people, it is race. For some people, it is politics. For some people, it's what I don't fucking know. What stance you have on a particular war, or how you feel about abortion rights. It's something. Pick something. They pick something and they say, this is my tribe. This is my team. And then when I'm a part of this team, it's really hard to veer off of any of the other ideas and beliefs that they have. Because I don't want to be kicked out. I don't want to leave. Don't make me do that. Don't make me leave my tribe. I'll do whatever. I will point and shout at. I will condemn and hate whoever you say is our opposition. Who is it? Who is it? So I've seen some crazy shit. And then his parents raised apparently like $700 something thousand or some shit like that. I don't know. It might even be more at this point, since I went down that rabbit hole. But his parents been running it up on the GoFundMe. Then apparently they said they found out that they're like grifters, and they ended up not even using it to help their son or some shit like that. It's like, why do you guys keep getting fucking surprised? We heard what happens with the fucking bitches from BLM. We already know. And it's not just them. It's not like, oh, well, you can't trust us with money. No. Nigga, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it is everybody. It's everybody. Look at all the other different NGOs and fucking all of it, all the different organizations. It seems like they just point at one that isn't corrupted. You know, it would be too hard to sit here and try to point at all the ones that are. It just seems a little bit crazy. It seems a little bit wild. And yet, we still want to feel like this was a race thing. We still want to feel like this is a left and right thing. We still want to feel like this is an anti-fucking Semitism thing. Like, people can't have common sense anymore. People can't. They need something to get upset about. And if it isn't politics, if it isn't race, well, we know that people love to attack the rich. Eat the fucking rich, man. Who cares about them? Who cares about them? The fucking 0.1%ers. The Elon Musk, because Elon just got declared as the very first trillionaire, and people are fucking livid. People are livid. And honestly, I didn't understand it. I still don't. But I'm trying to start to wrap my head around it. I'm realizing that this is everything. It's just like how I don't understand how people turn the whole Karmelo Anthony thing into a race issue. It's the same thing. It's the same thing where everything gets into some sort of political debate or issue. It's the same thing. So people are upset that Elon Musk has officially been declared the world's first trillionaire. The world's most innovative man, not the smartest man in the world that's ever been around. There's been people that's smarter than Elon, let's be real. But I think he has to objectively be the most effective person when it comes to implementing his ideas on a grand scale. That's just like looking at the numbers, looking at all the different businesses. And people are upset. And I know these people. I've talked to these people. Some of these people are in my family. I love these people. Some of these people, I understand that they have good intentions. So it's like I've heard the argument. Nobody should be hoarding. It's the word they like to use. Should be hoarding that much money. And I understand that it's very hard to wrap your mind around somebody creating that much value in the world, because he wouldn't have been able to make money without people buying what he has. And some people, they're upset because, you know, a lot of it is from the government or whatever. It's just like, well, let's be honest. The government has relied heavily on SpaceX. Those astronauts, unfortunately, would have been stuck up there longer if it wasn't for them being saved by the rockets sent by SpaceX. So ask them how much Elon should be making. Ask the people that live in the villages in Africa, or I feel like people always say villages in Africa. Is it just me? Like, there's so many places where people don't have the advantages that the everyday person has in America, or like, you know, some of the Western societies. There's so many other continents. Fuck just, you know, countries. There's other continents besides just Africa. But think about how many people that had no internet whatsoever, that now because of Starlink, they're able to do that. They're able to actually tap into the rest of the world, and that actually gives them some bit of economic freedom. And I feel like that's one of those things where left, right, black, white, whatever, most people think that, hey, everybody has a right to a sense of freedom. Like, you know, like, you shouldn't feel contained. That's why a lot of people, not everybody, I've learned with this whole Elon became a trillionaire thing. So a lot of people are against communism, dictatorship, you know, somebody like enforcing a set of rules. Most people don't want the government to have complete control over its population, over its people. And it seems like over in the UK, things are sliding a bit more to that side. They announced that social media will be banned for any children under 16. On June 15th, 2026, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced a sweeping ban prohibiting children under the age of 16 from using social media platforms. The regulation, which the government aims to pass by late December to take effect in the spring of 2027, marks one of the most far-reaching digital crackdowns in the world. I understand. I understand that this isn't something that you should be like pushing onto kids. I'm not saying like, you know what I mean, you want your kids to be all on social media and all of that, but damn, when it comes to the government or the parents having the say on what happens with kids, I think I will always be the person that leans towards the parents. That's just the type of person I am. And maybe it's because I am a parent. Maybe that's why. And maybe that's also what gives me some bit of say in this, right? It's not nothing. It's not nothing. It's not like I'm childless and I'm saying this. Though I do believe if I had no kids, I would be saying the same thing. I just don't think the government should be in control. But that's not just with things like this. That's with a lot of things. But one thing that I've noticed, again, maybe it's just this is what happens when you take so many so many loops around the sun. Eventually you get to the age where you start to notice differences. And I've noticed that the line was here and it's just slowly being moved. And some people might say, hey, that's over in the UK. Why are you worried? There's nothing to worry about. And I don't know. I don't agree. I don't agree. It's crazy how similar some of the things that happen there end up happening over here. It seems like it just trickles down or some shit. I don't know. But this is I believe their prime minister or whatever talking about this social media ban.
Today is a big moment for our country. This is a big step.
Huge.
Real change for our children and our future.
Big change.
Because today I can announce
That we're taking
that
control.
the government will ban access to social media for all children under the age of 16.
We're their parents now. Yes,
Every parent can see it with their own eyes.
we're in control.
Social media is making children unhappy. It's making it easier for bullies to harass and abuse them.
That's what this is.
And it could even be harming their mental health,
They care.
exposing them to content that is dangerous, because that's what grabs the attention. It's designed to be addictive.
It's the algorithms.
Of course it is. Features like the infinite scroll,
Yeah.
they're designed to lock you in for hours.
And I
Will
love
it
how
mean
he's using like
that no
different
child
terminology
ever
that he
logs
thinks
onto
will get
social
people to be
media
like, oh,
again? No. But look, this might shock you, but it doesn't shock parents of teenagers. They get around other laws too.
yeah.
But we don't say, oh, look, a teenager managed to get a drink somehow, so let's not bother banning alcohol sales to children. We don't do that, do we?
Of course
That
not.
would be utterly ridiculous.
Madness.
And so I just don't accept that argument.
Well, luckily, that's not the argument that I am presenting today. My argument is you can fuck all the way off. Maybe let the parents decide whether or not their kids should have screen time. By the way, I am it's not even screen time. It's social media. I am anti social media. My kids aren't on social media. Of course I have little kids. So it makes sense. But I don't know. I haven't really thought too much. I got like a 6 and an 8-year-old. So, you know, it's not one of those things that I haven't had to cross that bridge yet. But I'm not pro, they should be on TikTok dancing. It makes me, I don't post my kids, you know. I don't, it's not my cup of tea. Like I've heard too many cases of creepos and shit like that. And I'm not saying you should live your life based off of that. It's just like, I don't know. It's just not my thing. So this isn't me saying I'm pro kids being on social media. I am just anti-government being involved with that decision. That's Isn't that crazy? That doesn't seem crazy to you? And this is what I'm saying. The line is slowly being, it's just like, I guess that's just, it kind of makes sense. And it's like he was doing a spell of some sort. Where it's like you got the infinite scroll and you have the algorithms, and he's saying all of these things that are trigger words that are just like, oh yes, I've heard these things before. This is an issue. Bullying and cyberbullying, and it makes it easier for them to get the wrong idea and suicide, and you never want them to kill themselves. And I think that maybe this is not them caring. I don't think it's them caring. This isn't compassion. I wouldn't call it compassion. I don't think anybody that actually looking at this could objectively call it compassion. That's not what this is. This is control. It's no different than if you were in a relationship and you decided what your partner was going to eat, what they're going to do, what they're going to dress, and what they're going to whatever. And you could say whatever about your intentions, and it's like this because, I want what's best for you and whatever the fuck. No, you're just controlling. It's what you think is best, and you're putting that on to them. For some reason, people don't draw that same parallel. But that's what's happening. It's the economy, stupid. That's what's happening. People are saying, government, please be my daddy. Please be my mommy. Take care of me. Take care of us. It should be free. Everything should be free. We shouldn't have to work. Nobody should hoard that much money. So they're like, you're right. Look at them. Look at all these bad people. Who do you think puts in all this? Like, they're doing all these loopholes with taxes and everything. Where do you think these come from? Why do you think that, how many people in Congress have to become rich after their term? Or during, like, before and after? Look at their net worth. How many people do you have to realize that it's like they're not there for you? And so it's not just the United States. It's not just the United Kingdom. I think it's people. It's just like, you know what I mean? That's how God made us. This is where our incentives lie. When you have power, eventually somebody exploits it. And you might have that benevolent person every now and then. Like once in a lifetime, once in a generation type shit. But how many good ones rise to the top in politics? And how many of them realize this is just a shit show? This is what we're doing. We're letting them have more control. We're going to let them have more control. And we're going to have a smile on our face the whole time towards them with our hand out, while arguing with each other with our fists up, trying to fight because we think that that's where our villains are. It might be the other race. It might be the other financial class. It might be the other political side. We're going to be happy with what we get from our government as they have us tearing each other limb from limb. That's just my prediction. Who knows?